If you ever wondered what it takes to put on a live stream, I'm going to go ahead and show you. It's not really that difficult, but you really have to have it set up and everything in order before you start, or it turns into a mess real quick. So I'm right in the middle of doing some water changes. You can see the water level in the 210 is down. My 55 holding tank has a little water taken out of it. A lot of water taken out of the 55 community tank. They're wondering what's going on. 90 gallon. It's been drained about 20, maybe 30%. And another 20, 30% out of the 300 gallon. So while these tanks are filling up, and it can take a long time filling up a large volume tank from the faucet, I figured I'd share with you what is the process of putting on a live stream. Let's start off with basic equipment. You're going to need AVL. What is AVL? Is audio, in my case, a Yeti mic, audio, a boom to keep the mic onto the table. So there's your audio. Video is how you're going to be filming your video. In my case, I'm using a Sony 6400 camera on a heavy-duty tripod. So this is how I'm going to film it. And then in AVL, the L, of course, is lighting, and I'm using these box lights. If I need more lighting, if I decide to get a little bit more lighting, I have more options back here. You can see several more lighting options. But for now, I'm using these. I picked them up on eBay, and they work just fine. Then the next thing you need is you need to figure out what angle do you want to go at. And in the case of this last Saturday's live stream, I decided to go from this angle here, so it would capture most of this tank. And then I would sit right here, and I would have this black area here with some Christmas lights on it. You can see them, and that was the backdrop. That was the backdrop of the live stream. So so you figure out what angle you want to shoot from, what's going to be your backdrop, and then you need to get into some of the mechanical things. And by that, what I mean is, all right, how are you going to broadcast? Now, you can use things like StreamYard. In my case, I use what's called OBS, Open Broadcast Software. It's just a platform that you download onto your computer, and then with it, you're able to create scenes and an interface with YouTube, so you can do a broadcast. Now, that doesn't mean you can't just use your cell phone and fire up your cell phone and go live. You can do that too, and that's fine for a lot of live streaming. In my case, I'm using an OBS software. And then how do you get the signal from the camera? How do you get the signal over to your computer so that it then goes off via Wi-Fi to YouTube? And in my case, I'm using what is called a cam link. This is a cam link, and what it does is it converts the video that's being picked up by the camera. It converts it into a signal that the computer can then broadcast. So plugged into my computer, I have the link, the video link, and of course I have the microphone, which is simply a USB jack. And then, of course, I have power. You have to have your computer hooked up for power. And power is an important consideration during live streams because you don't want to run out of power. You want batteries to run out during your live stream. And so in the case of the camera, I have, you can look down here, I'll show you. This is a fake, it's not, I guess calling it a fake battery wouldn't be proper. This is the exact same shape as a Sony battery, and it just plugs into the camera. And then what it does is it gives you, using a little brick down there, it gives you ongoing power that's plugged in. So you have to worry about changing batteries in the middle of a live stream. And this is a lifesaver if you're a streamer and you're going to be streaming for longer than the usual battery life. So it just goes into the camera, just like a battery would. The camera has to be set to movie mode, and in my case, I broadcast at 30 frames per second at 1/60th shutter speed. For those of you who are technical, and I'm also setting the color, what's called the color temperature prior to each live stream is being set using what is called a gray card. And this is a gray card. I'll show you. Your camera takes a reading off this, and it tells the camera what color temperature you should be at to get the proper skin tones. You don't do that with an iPhone, which is what I'm using right now. So sometimes you can get odd color in the skin, odd texture. It can look a little bit animated or cartoonish. You don't get that in the live streams because everything is dialed in perfectly. And once you get color temperature, you also have to dial in what is called aperture. How much light, what's the exposure going to be, right? And with the amount of light that you're using, and when you consider all the light sources that are available to you. So at any rate, once you get all that dialed in, you've got your AVL, right? Your audio, your video, and your lighting are dialed in. You pretty much got it down. Whether you're using a cell phone or you're using a fancy video device, and then you're good to go, depending on the platform that you're using. And again, there are lots of them out there. StreamYard and OBS are probably the two most popular that are currently out there, and that's what I use. And it gives you, it just gives you a lot of flexibility. It's rock solid. It's proven. It's been in use for many years. The only disadvantage of OBS is it's not easy to have guests. I can't do collaborations. If you're going to do a lot of collaborations, you're better off with a broadcasting using a platform like StreamYard that allows you to invite guests on board, and it's very easy to do. It's almost like broadcasting a Zoom call. So at any rate, it can take me several hours to go ahead and get the right angle on the shot, and get the right lighting, get all the measurements done, for exposure and for color temperature and everything else. And then I got to come up with a theme that's going to be like the topic of the live stream. So you can come up with a thumbnail and things of that nature, and then decide how you're going to be pacing the live stream. And then you have to decide, of course, if you're going to have any props. Are there going to be any props in the live stream? And if so, you got to make sure those are handy. Like if I'm talking about filtration and I want to have the filter there, or am I going to be talking about heaters? Well, I got to have a few heaters next to me and all that good stuff. Am I going to be feeding the fish during the live stream? Well, I got to have the food handy, and so I can just pour it in the aquarium. At any rate, I'll put a link up here, and you can see today's live stream, because that's what this setup was done for today's live stream. So check out that link, and you'll see the final product that everything led up to, and there you go, a little bit of a behind the scenes on what it takes to put on a live stream. It's not just sit down and fire up the camera and hey, welcome to today's Cichlids and Coffee. There's probably, I would say, depending on the topic, it can be anywhere from an hour to 2 to 3 hours of prep. If I'm going to be showing a video during the live stream, of course, that's a whole other issue where I've got to shoot and edit and get that video ready to insert into the live stream. And so there you go, a little bit of behind the scenes of what it takes to put out a live stream, a Cichlids and Coffee live stream. And any questions, ask them below. If you're thinking about live streaming, reach out to me. I'll be happy to give you some advice. I've certainly made all the mistakes that there are to be made in live streaming. All right. Thank you, my friends. Bye-bye.